Hi, this is Tamara from mooglyblog.com, and in this video I'd like to demonstrate how I make bag bottoms going from rows to rounds. This is a technique that I've used in several free patterns, and if you go to the blog post attached to this video, you can see a list of those patterns. Here I have started the beginning of a teeny tiny bag, and this is a technique that I have used in all sorts of bags: tote bags, soap savers, baskets, all sorts of things. This is just something I'm making up for this video here. We have several rows of single crochet, and I'm going to show you how I like to turn rows that are worked back and forth into the bottom of a bag. It could be single crochet, it could be double crochet, half double crochet, that part doesn't matter. The number of stitches, the number of rows doesn't matter except for that particular pattern. So here we just have a few rows of single crochet. Now I'm going to show you how I would turn this into working in the round. So what I'm going to do, since I've been working in single crochet, I'm just going to keep working in single crochet. Again, you should just follow the pattern that you're following. So what I'm going to do is chain one and turn like I normally would, and single crochet right across the top. However, this row is going to become a round. And the idea behind this technique is that it's almost like making a teeny tiny baby blanket. Like if this were a tiny blanket, we would turn this into working in rounds as if we were working a border. So here we've worked all the way across the top as if it were another row. But at this point, I'm going to turn the square without flipping it over. Like normally when we say turn, we mean that way. Instead, I'm going to spin it clockwise and start crocheting into the sides of the previous rows. And how many stitches you need to work into the sides? Well, it just depends on what the pattern calls for. For myself personally, if I'm working to the sides of single crochet rows, I usually like to work one row or one stitch per row. Double crochet rows, usually 2 stitches per row, sometimes 3. It just depends again on how the pattern is working. So I'm not worried about how many stitches I'm working here. I'm just showing you the technique. I'm not worried about a particular stitch count. However, if you're following a pattern, obviously the stitch count is in fact important. So I've worked down the side, and you'll notice too, normally if I were working a border, I would increase in the corner there to keep it from rolling up. Well, I want this to roll up because it's the bottom of a bag, so I'm not going to increase in the corners. So here I am back at the first row. We've got the foundation chain that I worked into to begin the square or rectangle or whatever. And so at this point I'm going to turn again clockwise and start crocheting into the base of the foundation chain, the unused loops. When you made your first row, if you worked into just one loop, there will be 2 loops left here to work into. If you went through 2 loops, you'll have 1 loop left to work into. That part doesn't matter so much. Unless, of course, the pattern says it does, but generally it doesn't. So you work just into the base of each foundation stitch. And remember, do not increase in the corners. You don't want this to lay flat. You want it to start curling up to be the bottom of a bag. So then we turn again, and we've just got that last side left. I'm just going to crochet a few quick stitches in here so we can get all the way around. And how you work into the side is a really individual thing. Different people like to work into different parts of the stitch. You should definitely try a couple of different things, experiment, and see what parts of the stitch work best for you. Now it's important to count these if you are working an actual pattern to make sure that as you work up this last side, you don't work into the side of the row that you're working. Since this is a round going all the way around, you don't want to work into the side of that. And it looks like that's something I've probably done here. So I'm just going to go ahead and pull that last one out. So we'll say I've counted and worked all the way around. I started here with a regular row, went down the side, across the bottom, and up the other side. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make a slip stitch into the first stitch I made in this round, back when we were just working across the row. And there we have it. I have gone from working in rows to working in rounds. You can see it's starting to curl up a little bit already, which is great because we didn't increase. We're in the corners. It's going to start coming up the sides instead, and we'd be working even then, or however the pattern requires, to make a little pouch. And that's all there is to the bag bottoms that you'll see on Moogly. Again, be sure to check the attached blog post for a list of free patterns using this technique. I hope you've enjoyed learning about it. Thanks so much for watching.